Well, this is a copy of the codicil of my yet to be written will, which indicates that if I'm ever hurt, killed, I should say, by a wild animal, that I don't want anything to happen to that animal. So if something happens like that tomorrow, I want you to have this at the ready that you can present to authorities, to wildlife authorities, anybody like that, so that nothing happens to that animal. That I'm happy to be part of the food chain and glad to have died a useful and heroic death. You would have it's a formula that takes into effect the length of day with the not only the maximum temperature but just like the overall daily temperature.
So
know,
what
like
would...
if you go further north, you're going to have more hours to sit.
That's true. Yeah.
So can you find if you can find
But there's not as hot a desert the
right,
further north you go.
But there's probably some. But there's little microclimates. So if you can find the place that has that perfect combination of maintaining more heat than you would expect that far north, while also adding that extra couple hours or so of sunlight, I would imagine that'd be a higher difficulty sit.
Well,
So
what would you say comes to mind as the most difficult sit that you could do right now?
well, I mean, you got to think Death Valley comes to mind, right? Actually, Death Valley is not that far south, and it's extremely hot.
Yeah.
It's north of here, right? So
Why is it that once I realized I was doing this, I was flipping around TV and saw Lawrence of Arabia crossing the Sahara, and I had to stay on it for a while just to watch that scene.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because you were freaking out.
The issue you're trying to deal with is you wanted to do this on the solstice, but it turns out the solstice is today, not tomorrow. So
Yeah.
you lose a second of sun, and I'm trying to make the case that just sit there for an extra second.
Right, but that doesn't replace the extra second of sun.
I will go get
You're
a
just
flashlight.
sitting.
I will just shine a flashlight on you for an extra second.
All right, how good of a is it really strong?
I'll get as bright a flashlight as I can, and I'll get additional heat. I'll get a heat lamp. Just for 1 second, I will keep the heat lamp on you.
Okay, that might be fair. That might make me feel like I didn't, somehow cheat the sun, cheat the desert sit concept in any way.
We're talking about meals. You're going to have dinner tonight. You're going to have to be out there at the crack of dawn tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I was asking if you're going to have breakfast.
Yeah, so sunup's like 5:30. So I think my goal, first of all, for the 14.5 hours is just not to have to take a crap out there. So I think I'm going to have like some muffins and something really simple on the start.
What about urination? What's your plan? Just
Well, urination is easy, right? I'm a man. So that'll be fine, There's a certain ranging area, I should say, that's allowed for the desert sit. It's not a big area, but you can certainly get up and walk a few yards to take a piss.
The sun comes up at 5:30. You have to be sitting by 5:30.
Correct.
Okay. I think the question everyone wants to know is why?
Why? mean, does everything have to have a reason, Peter?
Well,
Joshua, I should probably stop in here. Get a park map. Take a look at it. What do you think?
yeah. It's always good to have maps.
Use the urinal, which I need to
really lovely area, and
Was that where I needed to turn?
I was paying no attention. I apologize. I don't know. Maybe, probably.
Okay.
Considering there's only one road that turns off, the one we're on, and that one road is the road we're supposed to turn on. So
I guess we'll make a turn around and make sure that we aren't driving needlessly.
moved into dirt road territory here. Wall Street Mill. I think they call this being off the beaten track. So you've been complaining about how fast this car's going through gas. What do you do if you run out of gas out here?
Yeah, you just walk in the heat, kind of like Clark Griswold. Sing 99 bottles of beer on the wall while you're doing it.
Where are we? Where is Odell Road?
Oh, I just thought about something. I gotta be out on the flats where I don't want like the low sun to be blocked by rocks.
That's where I saw the shade, and I thought that's a beautiful spot.
West is from.
Alright, so we're on this road for the second time now.
Is that Houston? What does it say? Humvee, Texas.
Humvee, Texas?
Is that a real place? Or is that just...
I would look it up, but we have no phone connection. We're disconnected from Google. It's half of the world's worst nightmare.
It's horrible. Alright, Humvee, Texas.
found your spot? Okay.
We got a great 360 view. It's not very hard to get to. Going up to Santa Monica and then going east, it was probably 5 hours. Plus, and then we drove into the park, and we've been, we had to drive into the park and figure out, find my spot and so forth. So I'm just now getting out, just now left the park and getting back into Joshua Tree, the town.
So where does the idea come from?
Well, it's about a 25-year-old idea. I was reading a book called The Hodge by an author named Leon Uris. And there was a scene where a Bedouin was in the desert. Someone came upon him. The Bedouin was waiting for some sort of provisions. And he didn't know when they were going to come. And he was just sitting in the desert. And the other character asked him, well, so what will you do? I'll just wait. What if it takes weeks? I'll just wait. And that was it. I started thinking, this is a world where, time doesn't matter the way it does with us. Just a totally different way of living. And that's when I ran with the idea, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to just sit all day in the desert. Might as well make it the summer, just to add some adventure. And so 20 years ago, I tried it. It was in Arizona, in Sedona, but preparation was questionable, particularly the piece where I got up early and went to Denny's for breakfast. And so I got out there, and I think I might have lasted about 2 hours before the Denny's caught up to me, not to mention the bee stings. So I guess time and whatever excuse I had put it off the table for a while, but this is the 20-year anniversary of that, and COVID going on. I mean, it just again gave the desert sit just another level of appeal. I mean, all we hear is the term socially distant. We'd never heard this term before. Well, you want socially distant? I give you the Mojave Desert.
Yeah, it's like 4:22 a.m. How are you feeling?
I'm a little tired. It's kind of early.
It's an old Stephen Wright joke. Guy walks up to a 7-Eleven, it's closed. He goes, I thought it was open 24 hours. And the other guy says, not in a row.
Apparently that's like the IHOP too.
Official sunrise again.
5:34. Think we'll make it on time?
I think so, yeah. No one working yet. Just drive on through.
Looks like it. But slowly, because of the tortoise.
There is a clear smell of smoke in the air. We would see if there was any kind of fire, right? I mean, fire.
If it was real fire,
Yeah.
I mean, as opposed to smoldering fire, right?
Yeah.
bonus points for a desert sit where you just sit as an inferno approaches. And you just remain patient and unflappable.
I think if the fire is surrounding you, you're allowed to get up and run.
I mean, you could always abort the mission. I camped. It's the summer of 2000. I rolled in late at night to the edge of the park, or it might have been just outside the park boundary. And I just sort of car camped. I just kind of rolled in and laid down a sleeping bag. The low temperature that night was 88, I think. So, I mean, by comparison, exceptionally comfortable here.
Yeah. High is projected for 99 today, right? So it's not even 100 degrees.
Disappointing that it may not hit triple digits, but of course it still could. With any luck, still top out in triple digits.
You're saying maybe you're not the only person doing this?
I mean, they may well be staging themselves for a full day of sitting in the sun doing absolutely nothing.
Is that a star?
What is it? It's not a star, but it's not a plane. It's not moving. It seems not shaped like a star.
Good question. Definitely begin to see the glow off in the horizon.
Racing against the clock.
Just about 5 o'clock in the morning. We're not enter sign. It's a good indication we're at the right place.
Yes, indeed. Spot that I chose, like right here. I think maybe this is it.
Okay.
This looks more familiar. I think this is it. Which is basically the same list we already were, but
No opportunity to ask Siri.
probably not.
We're disconnected from the internet.
If it's not it, we're gonna make it work. So.
I would say it actually feels slightly chilly.
It's cool out here. Literally, this bag is mostly just towels for the stuff. Well, my chair is in there, and most of it's for the towels that go into to make the pillow part of the chair. Well, this is it. This is the spot.
All right.
There'll be some great views. So a whole day of literally just watching the arc of the sun. It's going to come up over there, just essentially watching the sun. In a world of too much rushing, we don't spend much time just sitting there and watching the sun for 15 hours.
Decent amount of light coming
come up with, hopefully a committee of people can lay down some rules for specific distance you can roam, how many times you can get up, things like that.
I was going to ask what kind of records would you set, but I guess hottest, longest sit.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think eventually you really want to use applied mathematics and come up with a metric for the toughest sit based on any places in the world where the average total daily mean temperature versus total number of hours of sunlight, and where do you find that perfect mix where you're far from the equator and you get those long days and yet it's still really hot. You still have really long days, you've lost some daylight, but July 18th is hotter than June 20th or June 21st typically, just as an average high.
So it's a mix of different factors.
Yeah, I mean, these are the types of things that, much like how many feet inches from the hoop the 3-point line should be, need to be worked out. So.
Definitely getting lighter, but the sun is still not quite up. It'll be coming from over there.
To be right now, though, isn't it? I think no watches is going to be a rule too, including the camera. Like, you can't have a clock because the sun is your clock. Definitely not hot yet. Convenient.
So what's in there?
Oh, well, we got some watermelons, so we can try to stay hydrated. But also there's some items like beef jerky, because it has the salt, which is which helps with hydration. And a couple kind bars, and there's fresh oranges picked off my mother's tree, in fact.
Very nice.
That's what we got. That's the meal. That's the food for the day. It's like before tennis match.
Wind sprints?
I think just some jumping jacks. Jump roping, quick jump roping. There she is. There she is, the beautiful sun. probably not going to tell its friends about this big mammal sitting there.
So what things are you allowed to do? You're allowed to eat, you're allowed to drink water, you're allowed to read, you're allowed to write.
You can write and journal. I posted some rules yesterday. You can. I've decided you can't listen. No electronics.
No electronics.
So you can't listen to music, but you could. If you had a guitar out here, I think you could play the guitar. You can play music.
How about if you brought a soccer ball? Not advised.
Probably not allowed. But I suppose if you had like a backboard, you could sort of kick it off of it, come right back to you. I think you'd be okay. That might be allowed if you want to like kind of sit here and knee head.
How have the bees been?
They've been around. They're doing a lot of buzzing.
So where the car is, there's a gigantic tree bush thing that has exactly whatever it is they're after. So standing by the car, I hear this horrifying end of the world buzzing from like 100 bees inside this bush. I was sitting with the car doors open, and several of them just came in one door, looked at me, flew through.
Well, at least you know. At least they did that.
Yeah. I've been back at the Super 8 Motel. No, it's not product placement. They didn't pay anything for me to say that. It's about 11. It is exactly 11:22 in the morning. I'm going to try and get back there for high noon for Robbie. I slept a little more, ate a little, showered. It's just about the middle of the day. Let's get out there. Just went a little bit quicker at 5 in the morning. I missed it by a little bit. I was trying to get here right at noon and I'm a little bit late, just a little. How's it going?
Going good, feeling good. Yeah, you know, it's lots of time to sort of not think.
To me, you don't look that sunburned.
down by some sun.
I see you turned away from it.
I did. I think I'm a little parched. A long day sitting here. feels like it's lasted a while.
Yeah, it's been, what are we going to call this? This has been 12 hours, about.
About the 12-hour mark?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, well...
We got here before the sun actually came up. That was about 12 hours ago.
Well, as you know, generally speaking, I can never get too much sun, but I think there's some sort of cliche about saying never, right?
Yeah. They probably thought Joshua Tree is a great name for an album. It just sounds good. There's no actual connection.
It seems to have worked for him pretty well.
Yeah. Well, every once in a while, my friend Smitty and I will bring the question back into play. Has U2 found what they're looking for yet? The answer always seems to be no.
If they hadn't found it by then, they probably hadn't found it by now. Now that it's down low again, we'll kind of read.
Well, Robert Silk, you've done your official extra minute. You've added the minute to the day to equal yesterday, the longest day of the year. You're done, you've accomplished what you set out to do.
Years later. Gotten a lot of work today, this trip. Deserves a little break. Pretty relatively comfortable considering.
With the amount of discussion of product placement in this movie, are you going to pitch the manufacturer?
It can withstand 15 hours of sun and wind and dust.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, we're doing. Let's go to IHOP. I'm hungry.